Why does change feel so difficult to make, especially when it is really important to you? Maybe you are asking this question yourself when you want to make a change regarding a behavior of yours, a situation you find yourself in, or a way of thinking. Well, in this video, we will see together the main reason why this is happening, what makes change be so difficult, and also what you can do about it to turn things around. I'm Alina, founder of AVVA Performance, and together with my team, we make leadership simple for leaders and professionals that want to make a difference. So change. They say that change is the natural way of life, and it is so. And yet, when you feel that you want to make significant change, most of the time you are met with significant resistance. And we will go deeper into why it is so. But now I would invite you to just make a short exercise and imagine yourself going far, far away into the space. And from that point, very far into the outer space, taking a look at your life. So just look at your life for a bit and take a snapshot. What do you see? You most probably see a very high level of complexity. You see how a lot of things in your life are interconnected. Life, family, friends, money, places, people, situations, feelings, emotions. All of these are part of the complex system that is your life. And even if you may find it very difficult to see things like this now, this system is now in balance from the systemic perspective. As for yourself, if you want to change something within your life, so within this system, you need to see that you are challenging this balance. And the main resistance you are faced with is not necessarily your lack of capacity to make a change, but more importantly and more powerfully, the influence of the system. And what is keeping the system in balance right now are old patterns, patterns that have been there for a very long time and have become really powerful. So when you try to introduce something different, like a different mindset, a different behavior, a different way of doing things, or a different experience, that system feels threatened. The balance of the system is being put in danger. So what you are actually up against is not necessarily you or your way of being, is more complex than that, is what is happening in the larger system of your life. So let me give you an example of how the patterns are enhanced throughout time. So let's say you have been working in the same place for 15 or 20 years. You have created that pattern. So if a situation is created where you need or you want to change jobs, you will have to challenge that pattern. You will have to take yourself out of a structure that has been in place for so many years. Or, for instance, if you have been working over time, ever since you can remember, you may at some point want to change that and say, okay, I will respect my working hours. But that will be very difficult for you because you trained the system that this is how you do things. And in your environment, the setting was created that you keep that going so that everything stays in balance. So every time you want to create some sort of change in your life, it is useful to go a little bit deeper and explore the underlying patterns that keep that in place so far. So if it is a way of thinking or a behavior or a situation, there are three main categories of patterns that you can work with. So first, it's the mindset. So what are your beliefs or your stories that you tell yourself about that situation? For instance, if you are a person that has found it very difficult so far to say no, and you always say yes to everyone that is coming to you and asking you for a favor, although you feel overwhelmed, then this is the level of the mind that is connected to your identity. You find yourself seeing who you are through what you're doing. So you think about yourself, you have always done that, so you are like that. And here needs to be introduced a small change. Just because you do something or you have done it for a long time doesn't mean that you are one and the same with what you have been doing. So you can be a nice person also when you validate your own needs. Another category is emotions. The emotions have a great impact on how patterns are kept in place in the system. And that is a result of the experiences that you had. So you learned from certain experiences in certain situations in your life that you need to be like this. For instance, when you failed an interview for a job, or you were refused a promotion, or your team did not cooperate and did not get to the best results possible that you had planned. All those situations are recorded by your emotional system. And when a new similar situation arises, this enhances the pattern that was already created by the situation you experienced. And the emotion attached to it is also enhanced. So you will see around you more and more things, situations, people that will confirm this pattern. And this is how the pattern will become stronger and stronger. So when you will challenge that, maybe it will be through just wanting to change the way you engage with your team. The response will come from the whole pattern, not just from yourself. And another category is the environment that you find yourself in. And the patterns here are very, very strong. If you have been in the same environment with the same people doing the same thing in the same way for the same reasons, this has created really strong patterns. And here is something important that you need to remember. These kinds of patterns that have such power don't necessarily mean that they are bad. They can also act as resources for you. But when something that you want to change challenges one or more aspects of those patterns, then you need to be mindful of that and not take it as another failure. So another confirmation of, I cannot do it. This is impossible for me to do it. But rather to go a little bit away from the situation, just take a few steps back, or maybe go into an outer space position and see things from above, from a very large distance, and notice how can you adjust the process of change so that it gets to the desired outcome that you envision for yourself. So it's not really confronting the resistance, but enlarging the spectrum and seeing why and how it correlates and engages with other things in your system that want to keep things as they are and prevent you from change. To make it easier for you to implement, because we make leadership simple. So I want to make also this way of implementing change simpler for you. Here are 4 sets of questions that you can ask yourself when you are faced with a resistance to change. So when you want to make a change, but you feel it very difficult or even impossible to do it. When you want to initiate a change and you find it difficult to do that, to implement that change, just take a bit of time and ask yourself these questions. Number one, what do I want to change? What specifically do I want to change? And try to be as accurate as possible. Number two, how do I feel about the current situation? What exactly is bothering me in the current situation? Three, why do I really want to change? What would be the benefit that I will get after implementing the change? And four, what do I have to lose? What am I afraid of or uncomfortable with or insecure about if I make the change? I will add those four sets of questions in the description of this video, and please take the time to experiment with these questions and see how just receiving the answers to that will help you implement change much more easily than just trying to push things forward and continuing to support these struggling patterns. And if at any point in your exploration you find it helpful to have someone to support you on implementing change, please feel free to reach out. And for more resources about how to deal with change, just see the links to our website, and we will be more than happy to support you with that. Until next time, all the best and keep growing, keep changing.